Hey guys, welcome to my channel BNB. You guys are watching Minding My Business. Today I have a very special guest here today, Mr. Jonathan Flores, and we are going to discuss about deep webs and dark webs and understand what it is. And yeah, so guys, please watch out. Guys, we are on it and we have Jonathan with us. I thank him for being on my show, Minding My Business. And we guys are discussing about deep webs and dark webs and how different it is from the normal internet we use. Is it different? Is it not? So that's what it is. And yeah, I will leave it to Jonathan. The first things I would like to talk to him is how Jonathan, just tell me a bit about yourself, little bit, and then we can proceed with the topic.
Okay, well, a little bit about myself. I have 12 years of experience in the IT field. Some of that had to do with cybersecurity, networking, kind of a little bit of everything. Okay. And whenever I became curious about the dark web and the deep web, similar to the way that you did, because of my background, it was easy for me to understand what I needed to do in order to access it, just because I wanted to educate myself on the topic. And so that was the reason why I decided to just look into it. And there's a lot of precautions that you have to take when it comes to visiting a place like this, but it's definitely something that I think is worth experiencing.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you. The first thing which mate I would like to know and understand as well, the clear difference between the internet we use. So the internet we use, what I mean is we go to the Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Opera, whoever uses their own browser. And what is the difference between that and deep web and dark web? So these are the three terms which I want to just understand in a very layman point of view. You don't have to go full deep, you don't have to jump in the ocean, but probably, touch the corners.
Well, a good way to understand the difference, and there's online, there's a iceberg metaphor that is used to describe what the regular web is, the deep web and the dark web. And it's basically, if you can picture an iceberg, the ice that you see above the water, that's the internet, and that's what everybody can see. Below that, we have the deep web. And the deep web is basically any websites or pages that are not indexed, means search engines can't find them. Okay. That's where these pages rest. So some of them might be something like, an old show of Netflix that they just don't advertise anymore, but it's still sitting somewhere. Or maybe your blog from 10 years ago that you never updated, and the website that you use just didn't bother indexing it because no one's visited in 10 years. It could just be something like that.
Okay.
Below that, that's where you have the dark web.
Right. So that's the deep web you said about, where things are not indexed.
Right. Okay. That's the deep web. Okay. And the dark web, that's where it gets a little bit more confusing, because the dark web is technically part of the deep web, because it also has non-indexed websites, but that's where you find a lot of this illegal activity, or people selling things on the dark web, right? Okay. So I think that's a good metaphor. It's just the iceberg, because it's easy to explain, and then the deeper you go, the further down the rabbit hole you go. There's been rumors about something that's even deeper than the dark web, but nothing's been confirmed. It's at this point it's a rumor. But if you do visit the dark web, you will see advertisements for this other section of the dark web, and they will charge you money for access to it. But up until this point, all of that has just been fraud. So it's not been discovered if it does exist.
So, Jonathan, how much of the internet, like if you take the whole thing, the whole internet universe, how much percentage, approximately how much percentage does the dark web and if I say everything is deep web, like even dark web is a part of deep web, as you say. So if I just make it into two different things, like our normal internet and deep web, how much percentage is the deep web? And I mean, out of 100, like say like 70, or like more or less?
No, it's actually less. I mean, nothing's been, again, because the dark web and the deep web, they're still relatively new. I think it was maybe early 2000s whenever it was just coming out to be what it is now. But what has been estimated by experts in that in the internet is that it takes about 5% of the entire internet.
Okay.
So, you would think, oh, it's only 5%. That's not that much. But then you're talking about the entire internet. I mean, that is, so much information out there. It's 5%. It's still a big chunk.
Yes. And I've seen videos. I mean, there's some, you go to those YouTube videos where they say, 10 most weird things you can find on dark web or deep web. So I happen to see some videos from Watch Mojo, and they just keep coming up. So I want to know, I mean, if you can shed some light. I mean, that is something for me and even for the viewers as well. Like, what do you actually say other than the Netflix videos? I mean, what do you actually, find on deep web and dark web? Like, say, illegal terms, as in like they sell arms and ammunitions, like drugs, or like are there like online brothels or etc. I mean, there are just rumors, but then this is something which I've never spoken to someone about. Like, how illegal could it get? Like,
oh, it can get. I mean, it could be something that you could say it's illegal. It could be something, as buying marijuana. You could find that on the dark web, but it could also be something a lot more serious. Like I wrote down some examples. You could buy people's credit card numbers, and all kinds of drugs. Not, I just use marijuana as an example, but you're talking about cocaine, heroin, ecstasy. Everything is on there. Guns, counterfeit money, stolen subscription credentials, hacked Netflix accounts, or software that would help you get into someone else's computer, such as a keylogger, or maybe just ransomware that you would want to use to hurt somebody through their computer. You can buy login credentials to a $50,000 Bank of America account, and let's say they charge you $3,000 and they give you access to this bank account that has $50,000 sitting in it. So, some of the stuff gets pretty serious. You could buy, $3,000 in counterfeit $20 bills for like $500 or $600. Prepaid debit cards, lifetime Netflix premium accounts. That was one of the things that I saw, for $6. It's a lifetime Netflix account, and then you don't ever have to worry about paying anything. And that sounds enticing, but you got to remember, this is the dark web. And, you go on here to buy a gun, and let's say the seller rips you off. It's not like you can really go to the police and say, hey, I was trying to buy a gun on the dark web, and the guy, just took my money. That's not, it's definitely a risk that you take with anything like that. But it goes even darker than that when it comes to stuff that you find on the dark web. You hear the stories, like, you're talking about the videos, like with Watch Mojo and the stuff that you find on the dark web. And, you have torture videos, you have child pornography, you have, so many things out there that, to us, just exploring just the regular internet is not something that you really think about. But it's out there, and there's the demand for it, and that's why it's there.
So Jonathan, I mean, a person who's obviously, I mean, when you want to access such, say, if I want to access deep web or dark web, obviously, so what I have heard and known is, there are browsers called Tor browsers, etc. I mean, I don't have much idea about how safe are those, and like, does a normal person risk their entire security if they manage to somehow get through, bypass everything and get through to say those websites in the dark web or deep web. Like, I mean, it's obviously a big security threat to everything, like your credit cards, and I mean, those are the things which could be stolen, like passwords and etc. etc.
Right, and it's a little scary when you think about the fact that just by visiting this part of the internet, you could just be exposed, and of course nothing's 100% safe, nothing's 100% guaranteed. So even if you take all the precautions, there's still that small chance that you might still get pulled into something. Whenever I went to it for the very first time, I really thought that, okay, this is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. But then I also think about the fact that I'm a lot more tech savvy than some people. So I felt safer knowing that I had all those precautions in place before, I visited the deep web and the dark web. But a lot of people, when they look into going to the deep web or the dark web, they're familiar with the term VPN, which it's
network, yeah.
Okay, you see a lot of the software ads on like YouTube videos about NordVPN and all these other programs, and those are good. You definitely don't want to just download a Chrome extension that says it's a VPN and use that as your protection, because those, while they're technically VPNs, they're not what you want to use, for something like this. It's like the ones that you pay for, those are a little more secure, they're a little more safe to use. But of course, there's nothing like just an old-fashioned device, a VPN device that you have at your home, and then you can do all the routing and changing your location. The IP address is responsible for all of that, so you have a little more control when it comes to that.
The software and going your way out to the dark web, no. So you gotta have the device as well, yeah.
Right, and a good metaphor about the VPN that I used once is, you think about the interstate is the internet, and you are in your car. No, your windows are not tinted. Okay, that's you basically browsing the internet. Everyone can see you because your public IP address is public. And of course that only gives your location, but it can be used to find, they can dig deeper. If it's someone that knows what they're doing, they can find out a lot through your IP address. So what a VPN is basically as if you were to put tint on your windows and people can't see you. So you're still on the internet, but now you're hiding.
Now you're hiding, yeah.
Right. So with the VPN, you change your IP address to be at a different location or just a different IP address altogether. But even then, if you still go to the dark web and you see pop-ups for stuff and you still click on the wrong thing, you're increasing your chances of having something bad, fraud, or maybe something worse than that. So it's definitely not something that you should go into unprepared. You want to make sure that you do your research, make sure you got the VPN, and of course the Tor browser is really the only one that I've really heard people use. I know there's other ones, but I'm not too sure what they're called or what was that? That's the
only browser I've ever heard of.
Right. Yeah. That's the only one that I've ever used. There are other ones, but I think they're not as stable as Tor. Tor is the one that, has been there from the very beginning. So that's the one that most people just go to and they stick to that. Everything in the dark web, tends to come off as being a little scary, but not everything is, not everything is illegal. They do have chess clubs that you can join, that you can find on there. They have something called a black book, which is basically the Facebook of Tor. So it's a social networking site for people that visit these places.
Okay. And I assume the currency, I mean, you can't use your credit cards over there. I think the currency would be cryptocurrency. Like, I don't know. I don't think you could use your credit cards or debit cards over there, no?
No, absolutely not. No, Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, that's the way to go with when it comes to the dark web, just because it's not traceable the way that, your bank account would be, but also, knowing what the dark web is, you don't want to just go in there and say, I'm going to put in my credit card information so that I can hire this person to do something bad for me. It's not very wise. So people don't do that.
Okay, Jonathan. And what I wanted to know is, is there still a huge amount of population who actually use this? Because, how much is, I just want to know, for example, like, say if that is a marketplace, if the dark web or deep web is a marketplace, how much is it like huge? The sales are huge, because we never get to know, like there's nothing, there's no information, and people we know they're just limited to Facebook and Twitter, so we don't know how many people are using,
actually using, right? And it's kind of difficult to answer a question like that because of so many uncertainties when it comes to the dark web and the deep web, and with the web pages being not being indexed, it's kind of hard to really come up with a solid answer for that. But it is a lot of people still access the deep web and the dark web. It's not slowing down, and there's these rumors about this other part of it that's even darker than the dark web or deeper than the deep web, whatever they're calling it. The fact that it's a rumor is telling you that there's people out there that either want more, or maybe there is more out there and we just haven't been able to access that. Maybe you do have to pay $10,000 for the link for it. I don't know that. But until that becomes more common knowledge, I guess we really won't know exactly how many people access it, because there's not like there's a log of how many people logged into the dark web or the deep web.
And how much of it, even do the governments also try? I'm sure government knows about it. Like, do they not try to? Are they like failing to catch them? It might be, or like they know about it and they keep quiet about it. Like say you have the mafia on the roads, like the mafia in person, like they might know this. If I call this a mafia on the internet, like does the government say, they have any idea about it, or they are as clueless as say we guys are, or or they're just letting them go? Because I'm sure it's not just US, like it's happening everywhere, like US, UK, Romania, Russia, like the entire world is involved.
No, yeah, of course. It's not just the United States. It's all over the world. It's being accessed everywhere, and governments do know about it, and I'm sure they try to find some of these people that are doing some of these illegal activities on the deep web or the dark web, but the people that are on the dark web selling illegal stuff or doing illegal things, they know what they're doing. So say this, they have all of the right devices, the right software up to know where, okay, well, now we're being traced by this government. Let's go into our VPN. Let's change our IP addresses. Let's move to a different location. You hear a lot about torrent sites in the mid 2000s. That was really popular. And what would happen is a lot of these torrent sites, would be in a different country like Russia or Denmark or somewhere where, the U.S. government is out of the jurisdiction.
Yeah. Like .com, .tn, .uk, like.
Exactly.
Yeah, we are from that torrent era.
Yeah. So what would happen with, for example, the Pirate Bay, which I think is one of the, if not the biggest torrent site ever, they keep getting taken down, but a week later they pop up somewhere else.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the same thing with people on the dark web. If they get taken down, someone else is there to pick it right back up and pop up somewhere else. So it's not as easy either. When it comes to trying to find someone, it's already difficult enough without having some of those walls up, like the VPN or maybe some firewalls. It's already difficult enough. By adding some of those layers, you make it even more difficult. And not to say that our government isn't capable of doing that, but it is very difficult, I think, for anybody.
Of course. So. And that's it, mate. I think I don't have much questions to go ahead because even I'm very less equipped with questions for this. This is something which I wanted to understand, and I mean, all we know is from the internet and Wikipedia, but I just want to talk to someone and just get to know about it and make a podcast of it. So, yes, mate, and thank you very much. I think this much is enough for now, because otherwise, if we go into the technicalities, I think it's a big thing, and I don't think I'm capable to understand the technicalities now. But for a layman term, I think this is where I draw the line. I think beyond this, it would be very technical. And yeah, thank you, Jonathan, for taking.
Oh yeah.
And it's too early for you, Sunday morning, so I'll leave you.
It's fine. It's fine. No, I'd love this. That being able to educate people on something like that, especially if it's, they want to visit it just to know about it, but they don't have the capabilities of getting there. I would give you step-by-step instructions on how to get to it, but I think I'd better rather explain it to you so you understand it, what it's like, and if one day you feel you want to access it yourself and see it for yourself, then hey, I'll help you out, and I'll let you know what you need to do. But until then, you got any questions, feel free to reach out.
Sure, Jonathan, sure. Thank you very much, Jonathan. I will catch you someday on this topic again.
All right, thank you.
Guys, I hope you like this video, and please watch out for more content in this channel. I'll get back with some new stuffs. I mean, there are a lot of things happening in this world, a lot of phenomena to know about, and I'll try to pick up more stories and get back to you soon. Please watch BNB. Thank you.